Hello everyone, this is take 2 for tonight. Not sure what happened with the Facebook live that I started just a couple of moments ago, but thought I would start again, so I'm not sure. There's just, I don't know, a few little glitches with the internet at the moment here. Okay, so tonight's Facebook live is the October free class. To earn yourself the free class, place an order of $75 or more, and the following month I will send you a 2-card class kit that you can join me to do Facebook, or join me on Facebook Live to do your cards. So a couple of reminders that are important just before we get started. Free shipping ends tomorrow, so all orders of $65 or more will get you your free shipping. So there is a link on my Facebook page, of course, so that you can click on the link to go to my webpage. However, if you would like me to help you place your order, please just let me know. Okay, so free shipping ends tomorrow. Make sure you get your order in at the latest 11:55 p.m. tomorrow night, and then you'll be good for your free shipping. That's the first reminder. Second reminder, this one is an amazing one. This is all about joining Stampin' Up. Now, for some people, it's not something that's on their radar, but this is an absolutely phenomenal deal. You're not going to get a better deal than this, and honestly, it's just too good to pass up. So for $60, you can choose $235 worth of product. You're not going to get any better deal anywhere else. This would have to be the best deal they've ever had in nearly the 20 years that I've been demonstrator. So exciting. A number of ladies have already taken advantage of this, just simply so they could replenish their stock, their card making and crafting supplies. So that is option one. You have until the end of this month, so until the 31st of October, to take advantage of this amazing deal. Option two, you can choose $344 of product for $169. $169 is our normal sign up cost. You get more product though. So for an extra $109, you get to choose an extra $109 worth of product. If you are wanting the Stampin' Cut machine, which retails at over $200, Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine retails at over $250, this is the one that you want. So then you get your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine for the $169, which is a huge discount. So they are the reminders that I want to share with you. I'll mention them again a little bit later, but wanted to share them with you just a little bit earlier. Okay, so October free class, the feature designer series paper for this class is North Pole Delivery, which is a 12 by 12, obviously paper, and it is a specialty paper. So I'm going to go through and show you these papers, because even if you just get the paper, you don't get the rest of the products that coordinate with it. You'll have a lot of fun with this paper. Hi Mandy, thank you for joining me. Okay, so let's go through this paper. So again, double-sided, very simple cutout for these images. The reverse side is a little bit more, perhaps versatile, a bit more user-friendly. So there are some letterboxes. I've been cutting out some of this paper. I've used it a few times now. So there are some bits and pieces cut out. The reverse side of this one, you've got some rows of houses. A few years ago we had, or maybe last year, we had some designer series paper that had buildings that looked very similar to this. So these are a nice, easy cutout as well. The next sheet, we've got letters and parcels. So again, versatile in the way that you can use them. And some of these you could use on birthday cards as well. And there is the reverse side, a much more simple pattern. Again, another piece that I have been cutting out. So this has got some really cute images. If you love dogs and cats, this is the paper you want. So let me hold it up just to show you the cat, because I think the cat is so, so cute. I've been cutting out, I'm going to say the little dash hounds that I've been cutting out of this paper. So here we go. This little guy here has been cut out a number of times, and we're going to be using that image on tonight's cards. Oh, let me just show you the reverse of this one. Again, more letters, great for a background, nice bold Merry Christmas, and your card's done. Okay, this is the final sheet. Then we've got a couple of sheets of ephemera that I'm going to share with you. So again, this is just really cute. You've got some different animals. The bears are really cute. I know in Australia, not an animal that we normally see, particularly in the wild. However, it is cute paper. And the reverse side is a simple polka dot. So let me share with you the ephemera pieces. So these are pre-printed and pre-cut. So these are pieces that you can use on your cards. You could use, this would be great for memory keeping if you're doing perhaps some Christmas pages. All you'll need to do is just gently press out the piece. And some of these pieces here you could use for a birthday card when you've got the ute with the gifts in the back. So there is a little bit of versatility with this one. You could use your post box for something different as well. The reverse side of these, having the cutouts, of course, are plain white. And here is the second sheet. So you get one sheet of each. Again, we've got the dogs and we've got cats and letters. So a couple of the animals as well, squirrels, bears. So these are really cute option for some quick card making. Okay, let me pop this aside and I'll share with you the cards that I'll be making tonight. And there is a bit of fussy cutting, so you're going to have to bear with me with that. I should have done mine ahead of time, but for those who are stamping along with me, this at least gives you a chance to keep up. So here is the first one. The ribbon I'm using is the beautiful red satin. It has a really nice shimmer to it. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up, but this is really beautiful ribbon to use. This ribbon was one of the products that we had in the goodie box for the retreat last weekend, and it's really beautiful to use, and you can tie your really beautiful bows. So inside, and this actually opens the other way. I think I've done everyone's kit opening the other way. Your kit will have an extra piece of cardstock to finish the inside. I didn't finish the inside of this one when I was making it. I think it was just getting it made before I had to move on to the next thing on my list that I needed to do. So let me share with you the products that are included for this card. So you will have your card base. I actually folded mine ahead of time. So this is a half sheet of A4. It's just cut up long ways. So I've cut this at 10.5 centimetres. For the inside, a piece of white cardstock, which measures 10 centimetres by 14.4. Let me just sort out these pieces here. 2 pieces of designer series paper. These measure 10.5 by 3.5 each, both the same size. 2 strips of real red that measure 10.5 by around 1.5 centimetres. So just little strips that are going to sit just here. So 1 piece of white, and this measures 7 centimetres by 11.5. And then we've got the little pieces that are going to mat on the top. So I haven't got these exact measurements, but I will do the measurements for them. Actually, I could do it now. So we've got 1 piece of garden green that measures 6.5 by 6.5 centimetres. The piece of red that mats on top is 6 by 6 centimetres. And we've got 5.5 by 5.5 centimetres for the white. For our second piece of green, which we're going to have for the sentiment, we've got 6.5 by 4 centimetres. Then we've got 6 by 3.5 centimetres, and then we've got 5.5 by 3 centimetres. So they are the pieces that mat together. So there's a lot of measurements there, but I will include the measurements in the comments after I'm done. And of course, the cute little dog that needs to be cut out. So As always, you'll begin by folding your card in half. For those who had them posted, this card's probably already folded in half for you. And just use your bone folder to make that a nice crisp fold. Okay, so first few pieces that we're going to be needing. Now, I'm not sure if anyone else has left comments. I found that Tuesday night I wasn't seeing the comments. I was seeing the first few, but that was it. So if you're watching, hello, and thank you for joining me. Okay, so I'm going to be sticking these few pieces together first. So I'm going to use, I think, my nice thin tape. So with this one, I'm going to have about 1/2 centimetre showing a little less of the red, and that's going in towards the middle of the card. So they will look like that when they're stuck together. So I'm going to put some of this nice thin double-sided tape, I want to go that way, along one edge. You can use a little bit of Tombow for this if you like, or even some of the wider double-sided tape. But I do find the nice thin stuff is really easy to use. So lining this up, and just as I mentioned, having that small amount showing. These pieces are going to be slightly wider than your designer series, than the card base. So you'll be able to trim those little bits off. And I'm going to do the same with the second piece. Okay, a little bit of the tape. And then these two can be placed together or stuck together as well. So just showing maybe a little less than 1/2 centimetre. It's whatever you would like, or however much you would like. So it's going to look a little bit like that. Okay, so next I'm going to be sticking both of these pieces straight onto the card front. So I'm going to use Stampin' Seal. And I hope the light is okay. I've got every light on in this space. Plus I've got an extra lamp in my light ring. So I'm hoping that the light's not too bad. So this is going to be placed right along the bottom and the side of the card front. As I mentioned, you may have a little bit of that overhang there, which is designed that way. So you haven't done anything wrong. I've just given a little bit extra length so that you can get to fit perfectly. And you'll be able to get your scissors and just carefully trim up. Okay, so I'm going to do the same with the second piece, which is going to go along the top, which will be level with the fold on the card. Again, making sure that my piece of red is pointed into the middle of the card. So that's going to go around about there. And again, I do have a little bit that I need to trim off. So again, thank you everyone for watching me. I'm not seeing any comments scrolling through. Please don't think I'm ignoring you, because that's certainly not the case. Okay, so far so good with that bit. Before I go ahead and stick this piece on here, I actually need to do my ribbon. So there are 2 pieces of ribbon. Let me check, what have we got here? Just need to figure out whether we're using the longer or the shorter one around. Okay, so you have 2 pieces of ribbon. Okay, you've got a slightly longer one, which the longer one is to tie your bow. So the shorter one of the 2, which measures, let me see, around 22 centimetres. Let me show you in this card. To make it look nice and neat on the inside, we've actually got the ribbon going all the way across the inside. So I'm going to put my ribbon on the inside, and then I've got this just a touch lower than center, and then those two ribbons are going to meet up in the middle. So a little bit of sticky tape just to hold these in place. Just pull it a little bit tighter, make it a little bit firm. And of course, if you would like to, you can put a little bit of double-sided tape underneath your ribbon as well. Okay, so I like not having that double-sided tape underneath it, just so that I can adjust to make sure that my ribbon is sitting nice and straight. Okay, I think what I'll do next, just to finish the inside off, the piece of white cardstock that measures 10 centimeters by 14.4, this is what I am going to use some of my Stampin' Seal to stick this into the inside of the card, and then the inside's finished, so we don't need to go back and do that in a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to just pop this piece aside, and I do have a little bit of stamping to do, which is on the smallest piece. As I mentioned, this one measures 5.5 by 3 centimeters. I'm pretty sure, gosh, I hope I cut those to the right size. Oh, I did. It looks a little bit smaller than what was on my card, but it is actually the right size. Stamps that I'm using is seasonal tags, which I think I used this the other night as well for the, no, I didn't. I've used it on a card class that we had at retreat. So this one, I'm just going to take the Merry and the Christmas to use on my card front. So let me grab a couple of blocks. Now, with this one being two separate stamps, you can have them on the one block and mount them, but I have found it can be just as easy. And as I showed Tuesday night, my stamps get quite well used, so my photopolymers have got a bit of staining, but don't let that bother you. It does not affect the way that the stamp works at all. So this one's been used with a lot of green and a lot of red so far. As mentioned, you can mount them on the same block. I'm going to stamp them separately, which sometimes can be just as easy as mounting them on one block and stamping them at the one time. I'm using garden green ink. I'm going to pop everything else off to the side, and I'm going to be starting with the Merry. And as always, I just have some scrap paper just to check to make sure I'm happy with how that is stamping. So first I'm going to be stamping the Merry, which very simple, lining that up, centering it, and a little higher. Don't know if I stamped that completely perfectly straight, but that's okay. It's a handmade card. Okay, so checking the Christmas, and Merry Christmas goes on just like that. So it can be with, particularly with photopolymer, stamping your sentiment, the individual words, they can be quite easy to line up. Of course, there's always that odd occasion that you might not get it quite perfect, which I do that more often than what you probably realise. Okay, so I've got my next pieces here. So I'm going to be using my Stampin' Seal to stick these pieces together first. Now, I don't think I mentioned earlier, but just a couple of reminders with Stampin' Seal, a little flick or a little tick at the end, just to break the stream of adhesive, and a light hand. So that's the first one, and do the next one. Okay, just pop that up there for now. And I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same with these squares. So these ones, we've got the bigger one is 6.5 by 6.5, the red is 6 by 6 centimetres, and the white is 5.5 by 5.5 centimetres. I think I remembered those measurements correctly. Like I mentioned, I will do in the comments, after I'm done, I will share the measurements so that you don't have to go back through the video to check those. Okay, so my next piece, or these two pieces, are going to be stuck onto the piece of white. So before you stick them down, just decide exactly where they will sit. And it does take a little bit of the guesswork out of lining those up. Again, I'm not going to be using dimensionals for this bit. I'm going to be using my stamp and seal. Here is the first one down. And the one with the sentiment as well. And the little gap in the middle is going to be ever so slightly bigger. There we go. So that is that to that point. So those who are playing along, I hope you're keeping up. If not, please don't worry. You'll be able to catch up later on and watch this again on replay. Okay. And I'm still not seeing any comments. So as I mentioned earlier, if you are watching, thank you for stopping by. Okay, I think we all love technology, but sometimes it just doesn't work as well as we hope it does. Okay, so some mini dimensionals. And the quickest way, of course, to get the backings off your dimensionals is just stabbing into them with the take your, or the piercing tool, which is a part of the take your pick tool. And the last one, there we go. And the bit of sticky tape in the join we have in the ribbon is going to be covered really nicely with this element. So that is very much centered. Okay, a little bit of fussy cutting next. So you'll all have your cute little dog to cut out. So just going to quickly cut. I think this dog is probably a golden retriever, maybe a Labrador. Looks to have a little bit longer fur, so I'm going to go golden retriever. So with this card, if you have fallen a little bit behind, even if you come back later to do a bit of fussy cutting, you'll be able to keep up and do the rest of the card along with me. Or maybe I should slow my crafting down a little bit when I'm doing the free classes, just so people can keep up. Okay, almost done. Yeah, I think all the animal images in this paper are they're very, very cute. I keep looking at the cats and I need to do something with the cute cats. Yeah, I might need to mix and match perhaps with one of the stamp sets that have a Christmas tree in it. And then I can have cut out some of the presents and one of the cats, because we all know how much cats love Christmas trees. Okay, almost done. Last little bit around his tail. Okay, so that is the cute little dog cut out, and I'm going to pop some dimensionals behind him and stick him onto the card front. And then all I need to do is tie the bow and the card's finished. So this design of this card is versatile and it's not too difficult. It's not a complex design to do at all. And I think it's going to work really, really nicely with any other papers for any occasion. Okay, and taking the little papers off the back of the dimensionals. So as you can see, they all get collected just on the end of the pick tool. And then you can just flick those off into the bin. Or in my case, they end up on my table and then usually end up on the floor or attached to my socks or something like that. Okay, so let's put the dog on the card front. So this is a lovely card for anyone who's a dog lover. Okay, so the second piece of ribbon, which is the longer of the two, and this measures around 30 centimeters, I'm going to tie my bow. So it will take just a couple of minutes just to work my bow to get it to the size and the shape that I want. So it just takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of adjusting. Okay. Almost got it. I think that's pretty good. And then I play with it a little bit more. Okay, I am going to trim my ribbons up, and to create the little V in the ribbon, fold the piece of ribbon in half and that the folded edge or the fold is on away from me, and I've got the open edge here. I'm just going to cut that on an angle, and then that cuts that little V. And I'm going to do the same on the inside. So I have folded the ribbon in half. I've got the fold pointing away from me, so the open edge is here, is closest to me, and then a little snip. And you have your ribbon with the cute little tails. Just going to even this up just a little bit again. To do that is just folding and snipping. So I've given you enough length with the ribbon so that you can sit there and practice and tie a really nice bow. So this will be stuck on the angle or on the side, and normally I'd use a glue dot, but because this is a wider ribbon, I want a little bit more coverage. So to get that, I'm going to be using the tear and tape. So this is very similar to the other tape that I used. It's probably got a little bit stronger hold or bond on this tape. So it does work really well under the ribbon. So I've got about 2 centimeters there, which I'm going to stick straight over my piece of ribbon that's already on the card. Just get your fingernail up underneath the tape just to peel the backing off, and then my bow will go on. So rather than having that tiny glue dot to hold it in place, it's got about 2 centimeters of double-sided tape underneath this ribbon. And I found that with wider ribbons, this is more effective and you don't tend to lose the bows quite as much. Okay, so that is card number 1 of the 2. So the second project, we do have, again, a bit of fussy cutting, but it's using the same papers. Okay, so let me pop these ones aside, and I'm just going to quickly do a tidy up, and then while you're finishing up your card, I'm going to go through the products that you have for The second card, let me show you the second one, is this one here. As I mentioned, we've got the cute little dog. It kind of looks like a sausage dog, might not be. I think it could be a dog of a non-description, I guess. We're going to be cutting out some of the letters and parcels and also one of the mailboxes, which this one always reminds me of the mailboxes you see in the UK. Okay, so you will have in your kit a half sheet of A4 in Pool Party for the base. So this measures 21 centimetres by 14.9. Okay, so that's the standard base. There will be 2 pieces of white that are the same size. So these two measure 10 centimetres by 14.4, one for the inside, one for the outside. There is a piece of real red cardstock that measures 9.5 by 13.9. A piece of the Polka Dot Designer Series paper that measures 13.9 by 4.5 centimetres. And a second piece that measures 13.9 by, I'm going to say 1 centimetre, I'm going to say. Yeah, 1 centimetre. Plus you'll also have, when I pick them up, you'll have the dog, the mailbox or the letterbox, plus some letters and some parcels that need to be cut out as well. I promise they're a quick and easy cut out, so don't be alarmed that there's so many little pieces. To finish off the inside, you'll also have a couple of pieces to cut out to put on the inside as well. And finally, you will have, these are little shimmer sequins. So they've got a really nice shimmer and shine to them. So you'll have 3 of those. Okay, so let's make a start on this card. The piece I need to fussy cut, I'm just going to pop aside just for a moment. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually my stamping on the piece of real red. I am going to be using Memento Black. I'm just going to give my stamps, I should have done it just before, a really quick wipe, just to give them a chance to dry. And again, I am going to be stamping these 2 stamps separately. And the reason I'm doing stamping before I do any sticking, if I mess up the stamping, which there's every chance I can do that, I can flip over my piece of real red and have a go on the other side. Okay. So, starting with the Mary. Yep. Oh, might be a scratch on the block. Looked like there was some fluff on it. Okay, so we've got Mary fairly close to the top. And then the Christmas. And of course, if you don't have this stamp set, go ahead and choose a sentiment from one of the sets that you already have. And lining up the Christmas underneath and centered. And there you have your sentiment done. So these are also very much simple stamping because we are using paper and Designer Series paper or cardstock Designer Series paper, an ink pad, a stamp, and we've got basic supplies as well that we'd normally use in card making. Okay, so let's go on to the next step. So the piece of Designer Series paper. Again, I'm using Stamp and Seal. But you could use Tombow, whichever adhesives you would normally use, go ahead and use those. I just happen to love using Stamp and Seal. You'll find that there's a small amount that you do need to trim off one edge because I have cut it just a couple of millimeters longer than the cardstock just to make sure that you don't have those little gaps at the edge. Okay, so that is the first piece. Now for the second one, I'm going to use some of the thin double-sided tape that I've got here. Normally I would put the thin tape on my piece of cardstock, but I'm actually going to put it behind this piece of designer series paper just so that I can decide how close I'm going to put this strip on the card front. One of the tricks you can do is peel up a portion of the paper and then fold it so that it's sticking up. Okay, let me just show you that. So you can see it's folded. I haven't taken the whole thing off. This then allows me to position my strip of designer series paper exactly where I want it. And then you can pull out or pull on that little tab. And then you might get it kind of sort of straight. And I don't think I quite nailed it with how straight mine is. So I'm going to gently peel it up and have another go at it. I think that's a little better. If you don't press down too hard, sometimes you do get a second chance at getting these pieces up. Okay. Before I do my fussy cutting, I'm going to put the rest of the card together. So, something sticky there. Folding my card base in half. And Pool Party is a really nice alternative colour for Christmas. So I've got my two pieces of white. As I mentioned earlier, both of these measure 10 centimetres by 14.4. And if you've just joined me, please don't think, and you've left me a comment, please don't think I'm ignoring you. I actually can't see any comments right now. So I know I've mentioned that a couple of times. I just don't want anyone to think that I'm not paying attention. Okay. So any questions that anyone has asked, I will respond to them after I finish this live. Okay. I am going to now put this piece on the front, and I think I'm going to use some dimensionals for this. Okay, so one in each corner and a few in the middle. Or of course, if you've got the standard size dimensionals, go ahead and use those too. And taking the covers off the dimensionals and using the piercing tool on the take your pick tool, it takes all the hard work out of getting the backs off your dimensionals. Okay. I'm going to pop that aside just for a few moments, and now I've got some fussy cutting to do. So you'll need to fussy cut each of the pieces. It seems like a lot, but the presents and the envelopes are a really quick and easy cut out. So the dog and the letterbox might take the longest amount of time. So I think everyone has ended up with a red letterbox. If not, you may have a blue one. Okay, so as I mentioned, they are quite a quick and easy cut out. Except for the little dog. He might take just a little bit longer. Now with his tail, because that will become a little bit unstable, just cut a little bit wider around the tail just so that it's not that thin little tail there. So these sorts of cards that you're cutting out your designer series paper, if you really enjoy fussy cutting, these are the sorts of cards that you're going to love to make. Okay. And of course we want to avoid cutting off a paw as well. Normally if I've got a lot of fussy cutting to do, I actually do all my stamping ahead of time, and then at night when I'm sitting down watching TV, I do all my fussy cutting. So when I'm mass producing cards, that's what I do. Then I can be enjoying something on TV or watching Netflix or something while I'm cutting out. Just trim a little bit more off his tail. All right, and now the easy bits. The letters and the couple of presents are a trim. I'm sure you'll find these pieces nice and easy to cut out. Okay, last couple to do. Okay, almost done. Now, as I mentioned before when I was fussy cutting, don't worry if you've fallen behind. You're not going to miss out. I will share this video straight away so that you can start watching it again to catch up on where you might be up to. And of course, you'll be able to pause the replay as well. 2 more to go, and then we're ready to stick the last bits of this card together. Now with these larger present boxes, you may have the blue or you may have the pink that I used on the sample card. Or you may have slight variations of these pieces that I've used. Okay, so we are done. Let me get rid of those pieces. Okay, so first of all, I think I'm going to get the letterbox stuck on just so that I can get my positioning for everything else. So I'm going to use some mini dimensionals for this. So a couple at the top and a couple at the bottom, and I'm going to put 2 pieces, I think, just in the middle. That way then underneath each side I'm going to be able to slide in the letters and the presents as well. Okay, so that can go... Oh, I've done this card slightly different to the other one. I've lined mine up with the bottom. I've left the red there. That's okay. We sometimes do that, don't we? Slightly change things up. So my next thing I'm doing is just positioning where I would like my other pieces to go. So I've got, as I mentioned, a couple of pieces for the inside. Oh, we probably should put the dog on next. Actually, the little green letter that goes underneath the dog and the mailbox, I'm going to stick that on first. So yeah, with yours, you may have done exactly what I've done, or you may, if you're watching on replay, you may decide to do that little bit of a gap. So for the presents, I'm using envelopes. I am using just a small amount of Tombow. Okay, I need to get my dog on next, and I am going to be using some dimensionals. Okay, just a couple more pieces. And I think I wanted to put a thin piece along his tail. So I'm going to cut up a nice thin piece from the edge of the dimensional sheet. So that should then, let me hold this up and show you, that nice thin piece just here will help keep his tail, I guess, stick his tail down well and keep it stable. So I get rid of the backing papers and let's put the little dog here. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and stick the rest of these pieces onto the front. We've got one of the presents about there. So this is going to have just a slightly different look to it than my original card, simply because of where I have placed my designer series paper. And even on this piece here, I've also just changed it up slightly as well. So each time you make these sorts of cards, they might look slightly different just depending on where you stick everything. Okay, so last two for the front. Oh, need to make sure the letter's going the right way. And the second one. If you're using Tombow, you won't need to use all that much. It's just a small amount that you are putting on. So that is the front. So as you can see, it is slightly different with positioning. I've made this card different with where I've put the designer series paper, and also slight difference as well with where I've positioned the envelopes and the presents. Okay, so I do have for the inside another present to stick on. And we've also got a letter as well. So that is a nice simple added decoration for the inside. Okay, to finish off this card, I do have my little sequins as well. So these are like a glimmer or glitter sequins. And because the pieces are so small, or of the little acetate they're sitting on, I'm using the pick tool just to grab those off the sheet. And finally the last one to finish up. So there we have card number 2. As mentioned, a slight variation of the original, but it still works. It's still a cute card, and someone will love it. Okay, so that brings us to an end. So let me share with you the 2 cards for tonight's class. So for those who are playing along, thank